Hi, in this video I'm going to demonstrate the visualization tool that I have created for the DataViz class. This tool helps the user to look at the demographic data of City of Chicago. I've partitioned the screen into three parts. On the left hand side I have a heat map showing the population concentration across the city. In this initial screen it is showing the concentration of people who are aged 50. Below the map I have a set of controls that allows us to configure the view of the data over the map. We can choose to view a particular group such as white or Latino. We can choose to filter on a gender. We can use the slider to view the data for any age. Additionally, the checkbox labeled cumulative allows the user to view accumulated data up to the selected age. For example, I can move the slider all the way up to 99 and choose cumulative view, and I'd be looking at the distribution of the entire population of Chicago over this map for the group that I have selected. The middle partition lets us dive in deeper into the details of the age-related data. On the top, we have two line graphs that show the population graphs of different groups within a community area for two areas. With this view, it is easier to get a sense of what the demographic of a particular area looks like. We can select the data of a particular community area by clicking on the map of Chicago. The two most recent clicks are used to determine the selected community areas for comparison, with the most recently selected area showing up on the left graph. With the two graphs side by side, we can easily compare the details of any two community areas across the city. At the bottom, I have made a table that shows the overall population of the selected community area with its group breakup and the overall population of Chicago, thus enabling the user to compare the community area with the city itself. The table also gives percentage values of the ratio of population of the community area to that of Chicago, as well as relative percentages of different groups within the area. The figures are usually very small when a single community area is compared against the whole of Chicago, and hence I wanted to show the values such that the relative sizes became apparent. Hence, as a sort of an experiment, I created this graph that is at the center. In this graph, I have used the big square to represent the total population of a group in Chicago, and the small square within represents the contribution towards that population coming from the selected community area. The relative percentages of different groups have been left out deliberately from this graph, as the percentages would compound if the two were to be brought into the same graph. The third partition gives some overall information with respect to the people of Chicago. At the top, the pie charts give details about education in Chicago. Specifically, the left chart shows the breakup of education levels of people. The right chart enables us view men versus women composition within each section of the first chart. The user click on a section of the first chart to bring up the respective men versus women composition on the second chart. In the middle, I have shown the household income levels of people in Chicago. It is a stack chart that shows the overall numbers in each income range and also gives us a sense of the composition of different groups within the income range. A small animation lets the user click on a particular group in the stack chart to bring up the distribution of only that group across the different income ranges. At the bottom, I have created a static bar chart that shows the poverty situation in Chicago. Instead of going for a typical X-Y axis kind of a graph, I have taken the concept of above and below the line as the main idea for this graph, where each bar represents the total number of people of a particular group in Chicago, and the vertical positioning of the bars is done such that the height of the bars above the line representing the poverty line is proportionate to the number of people who are above the poverty line for that group. And that brings us to the end of this short demo. Thank you for watching.